Success follows a blueprint, a specific pattern of thoughts, actions, and behaviors that create predictable results. If you study the most successful people in the world, you'll notice they all follow similar principles. They have different backgrounds, different personalities, and different talents. But the way they think, the way they make decisions, and the way they approach life is remarkably similar. And that's because success is not random. It's built on a foundation of principles. Most people never reach extraordinary success because they don't understand these principles. They think success is about talent or intelligence or hard work alone. And while those things matter, they are not enough. Because you can be talented and still fail. You can be intelligent and still struggle. You can work harder than everyone else and still not make progress. But when you understand the blueprint, when you align your thoughts, habits, and decisions with the core principles of success, everything changes. Success stops feeling like a struggle. Progress stops feeling like a fight. Things start falling into place. Opportunities show up. Momentum builds. But here's the challenge. Most people are following the wrong blueprint. They have been conditioned by society, by their upbringing, by their past experiences to follow patterns that lead to mediocrity, not excellence. They are told to play it safe, to avoid risk, to focus on security instead of growth, to settle for good enough instead of striving for greatness. And because of that, most people are stuck. Not because they aren't capable of success, but because they are following the wrong map. The truth is, success leaves clues. There is a pattern. There is a formula. And if you understand that formula, if you follow the same mental, emotional, and strategic framework that the most successful people follow, you can achieve extraordinary results. Not average success. Extraordinary success. But the blueprint is not about shortcuts. It's not about hacks or quick wins. It's about building a foundation, developing the mindset, the discipline, and the habits that create sustainable success over time. Because success is not a one-time event. It's not about hitting one big goal and then stopping. Extraordinary success is a way of being, a way of thinking, working, and living that produces consistent, repeatable, and scalable results. And once you install this blueprint into your mind, once you start operating from these core principles, success becomes inevitable. Because success is not just about what you do, it's about who you become. It's about building the internal structure that allows you to create success on demand. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts success because you think, act, and operate according to the same mental and emotional patterns that create extraordinary results. This is not about working harder. It's about working smarter, aligning your mind, your habits, and your strategy with the fundamental laws that govern success. Most people are working against themselves without realizing it. They have the ambition, but not the framework. They have the motivation, but not the strategy. They have the desire, but not the belief system that allows them to sustain success once they achieve it. And that's what this blueprint will give you. The foundation to build not just success, but lasting, extraordinary success. Because the truth is, success is not an accident. It's a design. And once you understand the design, you can recreate it over and over again in any industry, in any economy, in any situation. Extraordinary success begins with one thing: your mindset. Your mind is the command center of your life. It determines how you see opportunities, how you handle challenges, and how you respond to setbacks. It shapes your habits, your decisions, and your results. And the difference between ordinary success and extraordinary success is not talent. It's the mental framework that governs how you think and operate. Most people never reach extraordinary success because their mindset is wired for survival, not for achievement. Their subconscious programming is focused on avoiding risk, staying comfortable, and protecting themselves from failure. And because of that, they hesitate. They second-guess themselves. They pull back when things get hard. But successful people who achieve extraordinary results, they operate from a different mental model. They have trained their minds to see opportunities where others see obstacles. They have conditioned themselves to take action even when they feel uncertain. They have programmed themselves to expect success even when the results aren't immediate. This is not an accident. It's conditioning. It's training. It's a deliberate shift in mental wiring that creates a new pattern of thinking and behaving. And it starts with what you believe about success. Because your beliefs are the foundation of your success. Your subconscious mind will never allow you to exceed the limits of what you believe is possible. If you believe success is difficult, you will subconsciously create resistance and sabotage your progress. If you believe success is only for other people, you will unconsciously stop yourself from taking the actions that lead to success. But if you believe that success is inevitable, if you train your mind to expect success, your subconscious will adjust your actions, decisions, and opportunities to align with that belief. Your mind will start filtering for opportunities. You will begin noticing solutions instead of problems. You will naturally start behaving in ways that lead to success. This is why successful people seem to have luck on their side. It's not luck, it's conditioning. Their minds are wired to expect success, so they naturally take actions that create success. And over time, this creates a self-reinforcing loop. Success breeds confidence. Confidence breeds more action. More action creates more success. So how do you shift your mindset to expect success? How do you reprogram your subconscious to align with extraordinary results? The first step is raising your standards. Your standards define what you are willing to accept from yourself and from life. Most people never experience extraordinary success because they tolerate mediocrity. They accept good enough. They settle for average effort, average habits, and average outcomes. And because they tolerate it, they get it. But the most successful people in the world have a different standard. They are not satisfied with average. They are not satisfied with good enough. They demand excellence from themselves. They hold themselves to a higher standard, not because they have to, but because that's who they are. And that creates a powerful shift, because when you raise your standards, you change the way you think, the way you act, and the way you make decisions. You stop tolerating excuses. You stop allowing distractions. You stop wasting time on things that don't move you forward. You operate at a higher level because you expect more from yourself. And here's the truth. You don't get what you want. You get what you expect. Your mind will always work to meet the level of your standards. If your standard is to be in great physical shape, you will naturally make decisions that align with that standard. If your standard is to be financially successful, you will make decisions that align with wealth. If your standard is to be disciplined, you will take actions that reinforce discipline. But if your standard is mediocrity, that's exactly what you'll get. The second step to creating an extraordinary mindset is controlling your focus. Your mind is like a camera. It will magnify whatever you focus on. If you focus on problems, your mind will find more problems. If you focus on opportunities, your mind will find more opportunities. If you focus on reasons why you can't succeed, your mind will reinforce those limitations. But if you focus on solutions, your mind will work to create them. Most people sabotage their own success because they focus too much on what's missing, on what's wrong, on what's difficult. And because of that, their mind reinforces failure. Their subconscious becomes programmed to expect struggle and resistance. But successful people train their minds to focus on the outcome they want. They focus on abundance, not scarcity. They focus on solutions, not problems. They focus on the reward, not the challenge. And because of that, their subconscious works in alignment with their goals instead of working against them. When you control your focus, you change the way your mind processes information. Your mind begins filtering out distractions and irrelevant details. It starts highlighting opportunities and solutions. It starts giving you energy and motivation instead of resistance and hesitation. The third step is learning how to handle failure. Because failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of the process. Most people fear failure because they believe it's permanent. They see failure as a sign that they aren't good enough, that they don't have what it takes, that they should give up. But successful people see failure differently. They see failure as feedback. They understand that every setback is teaching them something valuable. They know that failure is not the end. It's part of the process. When you stop fearing failure, you become dangerous. Because you stop hesitating. You stop holding back. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You start taking action, even when you don't have all the answers. And that willingness to act, even when you're uncertain, is one of the defining traits of successful people. And here's the secret. The more you fail, the more you grow. Because every failure gives you information. It shows you what's working and what isn't. It strengthens your resilience. It sharpens your instincts. It makes you tougher, smarter, and more capable. The difference between people who succeed and people who fail is not the absence of setbacks. It's the ability to keep going in the face of them. Successful people don't let failure define them. They use it to refine them. Because success is not about avoiding failure. It's about learning how to navigate it. Extraordinary success is not just about mindset. It's about habits. Because habits determine your results. Your life today is a direct reflection of the habits you've built over time, whether intentional or unintentional. The difference between successful people and everyone else is not just intelligence or talent. It's their daily habits. It's what they do consistently, not just what they do occasionally. Most people don't struggle with knowing what to do. They struggle with doing it consistently. They start strong, but then life gets in the way. They get distracted. They lose motivation. They fall back into old patterns. And that's because they don't understand the power of habit. A habit is not just an action, it's an automatic behavior. It's something you do without thinking. And the secret to extraordinary success is installing the right habits so that success becomes automatic. So what are the core habits that separate extraordinary achievers from everyone else? What are the daily routines, rituals, and disciplines that create long-term success? The first habit is mastering your mornings. How you start your day determines the momentum of everything that follows. Most people wake up and immediately react. They check the news. They hit snooze. They rush into their day without intention. And because of that, they start their day behind, playing defense instead of offense. But successful people take control of their mornings. They have a structured start to the day, designed to put them in the right state of mind, sharpen their focus, and set the tone for success. They do things like exercise, reading, visualization, goal setting, and planning before the distractions of the world take over, because they understand that how you start your day is how you live your life. If you win the morning, you build momentum. If you lose the morning, you're constantly playing catch up. The second habit is ruthless time management. Time is the most valuable resource you have. It's the one thing you can never get back. And the difference between ordinary people and high achievers is how they use it. Most people waste time without realizing it. They let distractions dictate their schedule. They spend hours reacting to emails, messages, and unnecessary meetings. They spend more time being busy than actually being productive. But extraordinary achievers protect their time. They structure their day with purpose. They set clear priorities. They eliminate distractions. They batch their tasks. They know exactly what they're working on at any given moment. They don't let other people control their schedule. They control their own time. And here's the truth. If you don't control your time, someone else will. The third habit is taking action, fast and consistently. Most people hesitate. They overthink. They wait for the perfect moment. They tell themselves they need more information, more preparation, more certainty, so they never actually start. But successful people have trained themselves to take action without hesitation. They understand that speed matters, that success is built on momentum, that waiting too long to make a decision is often worse than making the wrong one. They don't wait for perfect conditions because they know perfect conditions don't exist. They don't wait for motivation because they know motivation is unreliable. They don't wait for permission because they know no one is coming to save them. They move fast. They make decisions. They execute. And here's what most people don't realize. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You don't wait until you feel confident to take action. You take action and then you feel confident. The fourth habit is relentless learning and self-improvement. Extraordinary achievers never stop learning. They read books. They study success. They surround themselves with people who challenge them to grow. Most people stop learning after school. They think education is something that happens in a classroom. But the most successful people understand that growth never stops. Learning is a way of life. They are always upgrading their mindset, expanding their skills, improving their strategies, because they know that you can't outperform your level of knowledge. The world is changing. Industries are evolving. If you are not growing, you are falling behind. The fifth habit is resilience, the ability to push through discomfort and adversity. Because here's the truth. Success is not about avoiding obstacles. It's about facing them head on. Most people give up too soon. They start something, hit resistance, and quit. They tell themselves it's too hard, too risky, too uncertain. But the people who succeed, they push through. They keep going. They train themselves to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because they understand that every challenge, every setback, every failure is part of the process. They don't avoid discomfort. They lean into it. They don't fear problems. They solve them. They don't let rejection or failure stop them. They use it as fuel. And because of that, they outlast everyone else. Extraordinary success is not about doing one thing once. It's about doing the right things consistently. It's about installing habits that make success inevitable. Because success is not a one-time event. It's a way of life. Success is not just about mindset. It's not just about habits. It's about execution. Because you can have the best mindset in the world. You can have the most powerful habits. But if you don't execute, if you don't take massive action, none of it matters. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do it consistently enough, long enough, or at a high enough level. They take action sometimes. They work hard when they feel like it. They make progress until they get tired, bored, or discouraged, and then they stop. And that's why they never break through. But the people who create extraordinary success, they execute relentlessly. They show up every day. They do the work, even when they don't feel like it. They push forward, even when the results aren't immediate. Because they understand that success is a game of consistency. It's about stacking action on top of action, day after day, until the momentum becomes unstoppable. The key to execution is intensity, urgency, and focus. Most people approach their goals with a casual mindset. They hope things will work out. They try to stay disciplined. They plan to take action. But hope is not a strategy. Trying is not execution. Planning is not progress. Execution means moving with urgency. It means treating your goals like they matter. It means eliminating distractions, ignoring excuses, and committing to the process, no matter what. And the people who move with urgency always outperform those who move with hesitation. So the question is, are you operating with intensity? Are you treating your goals like non-negotiable priorities? Or are you treating them like something you'll get around to when the timing is right? The second key to execution is ruthless prioritization. Because most people fail, not because they aren't working hard, but because they are working on the wrong things. They stay busy instead of being effective. They focus on low-impact tasks instead of high-impact moves. But the people who succeed at the highest level, they prioritize ruthlessly. They ask themselves every day, what is the highest value activity I can do right now? What is the one action that will move me forward the fastest? They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They don't let distractions pull them away from their mission. They focus on the needle movers, the actions that drive the biggest results. Because not all effort is equal. The right effort, applied in the right way, creates exponential results. The third key to execution is speed and decisiveness. Because hesitation kills momentum. Overthinking creates paralysis. Waiting for perfect conditions leads to inaction. But the most successful people, they move fast. They make decisions. They take action before they feel 100% ready. They understand that progress is made through movement, not through endless planning. They don't sit around analyzing every possible outcome. They make a move, adjust as they go, and keep pushing forward. Because in the real world, speed matters. The faster you execute, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the faster you improve. The faster you improve, the faster you win. The fourth key to execution is mental toughness and discipline. Because success is not about motivation, it's about commitment. Most people think they need to feel inspired to take action. But successful people take action regardless of how they feel. They don't wait for the perfect mood. They don't let emotions dictate their effort. They do the work, whether they feel like it or not. Because they understand that consistency beats intensity. Showing up every day, doing the work even when it's inconvenient, is what separates the best from the rest. They push through fatigue. They push through distractions. They push through obstacles because they know that their success depends on their ability to execute, not on their ability to feel motivated. And that's what makes them unstoppable. The fifth key to execution is learning how to handle pressure and adversity. Because high-level execution is not comfortable. It will test you. It will challenge you. It will push you beyond your limits. Most people quit when things get hard. They slow down when they feel resistance. They back off when the pressure increases. But the most successful people, they thrive under pressure. They use adversity as fuel. They see setbacks as part of the process. They don't break when things get tough. They rise to the occasion. And that's the real test of success. Can you execute at a high level even when things aren't going your way? Can you keep pushing forward even when everything in you wants to stop? Because the people who can keep executing in the face of difficulty are the ones who reach the highest levels of success. The final key to execution is relentless follow-through. Most people start strong but fade out before they reach the finish line. They set big goals. They take action, but then they lose steam. They slow down. They get distracted. They stop before the breakthrough happens. But extraordinary achievers finish what they start. They don't just begin with intensity. They end with intensity. They follow through until the job is done. They don't quit when things get inconvenient. They don't abandon the process when progress is slow. They keep going day after day, week after week, year after year, until they achieve what they set out to achieve. Because success is not about starting, it's about finishing. And the people who execute with relentless consistency, who move with urgency, who prioritize the right actions, who push through discomfort, who follow through no matter what, those are the people who create extraordinary results. Execution is only half the battle, because no matter how hard you work, no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how fast you move, if you don't have the right strategy, you will waste time, energy, and effort. Extraordinary success requires precision. It requires a system. It requires a clear and structured strategy that directs every move you make. Without strategy, you are guessing. You are hoping things will work out. You are throwing effort at the problem without knowing whether it will actually produce results. And that's where most people fail. They work hard, but they work blindly. They grind, but they grind in the wrong direction. They are busy, but they aren't effective. They confuse movement with progress, but movement without strategy is just wasted motion. So, what is the strategy for extraordinary success? What is the structure that allows high achievers to move with clarity, efficiency, and precision? It starts with knowing exactly what you want, not a vague idea, not a general concept, a clear, specific, measurable target that defines success for you. Because here's the truth, you cannot hit a target you cannot see. Most people set weak goals. They say they want to be successful, but they don't define what success means to them. They say they want to make more money, but they don't set a number. They say they want to improve, but they don't outline how. And because they lack clarity, they lack direction. High achievers don't operate that way. They set targets with laser focus. They know exactly what they are chasing. They define their goals in specific detail. They don't just say, I want to make more money. They say, I will earn $500,000 in the next 12 months by scaling my business and closing 10 high-value deals. Clarity creates certainty. Certainty creates confidence. Confidence fuels action, and action produces results. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, you eliminate hesitation, doubt, and confusion. Once you have a clear target, the next step is reverse engineering your success. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. Most people set goals, but they don't create a clear path to achievement. They hope things will fall into place. They rely on luck. And when progress is slow, they get discouraged and quit. High achievers don't operate that way. They break success down into steps. They start with the big vision, then work backward, identifying the milestones, the daily actions, the exact behaviors that will create the outcome they want. They don't just say, I want to build a successful business. They break it down. Step 1, build a high-value offer. Step 2, attract and convert 10 new clients. Step 3, scale operations to increase revenue. They create a clear step-by-step plan that turns the goal into reality. And once they have the plan, they execute with precision. They don't wake up every day wondering what to do. They already know. They follow their plan, adjusting as needed, but always moving forward with intention. The next piece of the strategy is optimization, improving as you go. Because success is not just about working hard. It's about working smarter. Most people repeat the same mistakes over and over. They try something, it doesn't work, but instead of adjusting, they just try harder. They believe effort alone will create success. But extraordinary achievers understand that refinement is just as important as execution. They analyze what's working and what's not. They measure their progress. They identify weak points in their approach and improve them. If their strategy isn't producing results, they don't just grind harder, they find a better way. This is why successful people seem to accelerate faster, because they are constantly learning, adapting, and optimizing. They take feedback seriously. They embrace constructive criticism. They don't see failure as a stop sign. They see it as data that helps them improve. And here's the secret. The faster you improve, the faster you succeed. The faster you adjust, the faster you build momentum. The faster you optimize, the less wasted effort you spend on things that don't work. The final piece of the strategy is sustainability. Staying in the game long enough to win. Because success is not a sprint. It's a long-term game. Most people burn out because they don't pace themselves. They go all in too fast, without a long-term structure. They sacrifice everything: sleep, health, relationships, thinking that grinding 24/7 is the answer. But extraordinary achievers understand that sustainability is the key to lasting success. They protect their energy. They build systems that allow them to scale without exhausting themselves. They automate, delegate, and create routines that support consistent performance. Because they know that it's not just about winning today, it's about winning for the next 10, 20, or 50 years. And that's what separates extraordinary success from short-term success. It's not just about intensity, it's about longevity. So ask yourself, are you moving strategically or are you just moving? Are you working hard or are you working effectively? Are you reacting to circumstances or are you executing a clear, structured plan? Because success is not just about effort. It's about applying effort in the right way, at the right time, in the right direction. And when you combine mindset, execution, and strategy, you create unstoppable momentum. Extraordinary success requires more than execution and strategy. It requires unshakable discipline, the ability to stay committed, focused, and relentless, no matter the obstacles. Most people start strong. They feel motivated in the beginning. They take action when it's exciting. But when the excitement fades, when progress slows, when things get repetitive, that's when most people quit. But high achievers, they keep going. They show up every day whether they feel like it or not. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline is what separates the people who dream about success from the people who actually achieve it. Because success is not built on intensity. It's built on consistency. And here's the truth. Your habits will always beat your motivation. Because motivation is temporary. It fades. It comes and goes. But discipline is permanent. It's a system. It's a way of operating. It ensures that you make progress every single day, no matter how you feel. So how do you build unshakable discipline? How do you train yourself to execute regardless of emotion, regardless of circumstances? You make discipline a non-negotiable part of who you are. Most people think discipline is about restriction. They think it means forcing themselves to do things they hate. But discipline is freedom. Because when you are disciplined, you control your life instead of letting life control you. Discipline starts with building small, non-negotiable commitments. Because discipline is not about willpower. It's about habit. It's about creating routines that make action automatic. If you have to rely on willpower every day, you will eventually break. But if you turn the right actions into habits, discipline becomes effortless. That's why the most successful people have structured routines. They wake up at the same time. They follow the same morning process. They have preset habits that remove the need for decision making. Because every decision you make throughout the day drains energy. And when your energy is low, your discipline weakens. But if your habits are automatic, you don't have to rely on energy or willpower. You just execute. Another key to discipline is developing emotional control. Because emotions are the biggest enemy of discipline. They make you hesitate. They make you procrastinate. They make you second guess yourself. But high achievers do not let emotions dictate their actions. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. They don't avoid discomfort. They embrace it. They don't run from boredom. They master it. Because they know that success is built on doing the right things, even when it's not exciting. Discipline is about protecting your time and energy. Because success requires saying no just as much as it requires saying yes. Most people are undisciplined because they try to do too much. They spread themselves too thin. They say yes to every request. They allow distractions to dictate their day. And because of that, they have no energy left for what actually matters. But disciplined people, they guard their time ruthlessly. They don't waste energy on things that don't move them forward. They cut out distractions, useless conversations, and low-value activities. Because every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something important. Discipline is not just about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it better. It's about eliminating everything that doesn't serve your highest goals. The final key to unshakable discipline is commitment to long-term results. Because most people quit too soon. They expect instant success. They want results immediately. And when things don't happen fast enough, they lose patience. But success is not an overnight event. It is the result of years of disciplined action. And the people who win are the ones who stay in the game long enough to see the payoff. The most successful people are the ones who stay consistent for years, not weeks. They build their skills, they refine their craft, they improve a little bit every single day. And because they don't quit, they outlast the competition. They succeed, not because they are the smartest, not because they are the most talented, but because they refuse to stop. And that's what discipline really is, the ability to keep going no matter what. It's not about intensity. It's about sustainability. It's about executing over and over and over again, long after everyone else has given up. So ask yourself, are you disciplined? Or are you only consistent when it's convenient? Are you making progress every single day? Or are you waiting for the perfect moment, the right mood, or a burst of motivation? Because discipline is the ultimate separator. It's what turns effort into mastery. It's what turns goals into reality. It's what transforms average results into extraordinary success. Discipline builds momentum, but momentum alone is not enough. If you want to create extraordinary success, you must develop the mindset of resilience, the ability to push forward, no matter the circumstances, no matter the setbacks, no matter how many times you fail. Because here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Most people fear failure. They take a few steps forward, but the moment they hit resistance, they hesitate. They lose confidence. They let doubt creep in. And instead of pushing through, they pull back. But high achievers, they see failure differently. They don't see it as a stop sign. They see it as feedback. They don't see it as proof they aren't good enough. They see it as proof they are growing. Because success is not built by avoiding failure. It is built by learning from failure. Every setback, every mistake, every rejection, it's all data. It's information that teaches you how to improve, how to adjust, how to move forward more effectively. And the people who succeed at the highest level, they don't take failure personally. They don't attach their identity to the outcome. They don't let one bad result define their future. They fail, they analyze, they adapt, and they move forward. And because of that, they keep getting better. Resilience is the ability to keep going when things don't go as planned. Because in the real world, things rarely go as planned. There will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be days when everything feels like it's falling apart. And the only thing that will determine whether you succeed or fail is whether you keep moving forward. Most people quit when things get tough. They start strong, but the moment the process gets uncomfortable, they stop. They tell themselves, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should try something else. But high achievers, they push through the discomfort. They embrace the process, even when it's frustrating, even when it's exhausting, even when it feels like nothing is working, because they understand that the breakthrough always comes after the struggle. Resilience is not just about pushing through failure. It's about pushing through boredom, because success is often repetitive. It's about doing the same high-value activities over and over for years. Most people get distracted. They jump from one thing to another. They start something. But when progress is slow, they abandon it for the next exciting idea. And because they never stick with anything long enough, they never master anything. But extraordinary achievers, they commit. They stay focused. They keep sharpening their skills, improving their craft, refining their process until they reach mastery. Resilience is about how you handle stress and pressure, because the higher you rise, the more pressure you will face. Most people crack under pressure. They let stress overwhelm them. They let fear of failure paralyze them. They overthink every move instead of trusting themselves to execute. But high achievers, they train themselves to stay calm under pressure. They learn how to navigate chaos without losing focus. They don't let stress break them. They use it as fuel. Because here's the secret. Pressure is not something to avoid. It is something to embrace, because pressure creates growth. When you put yourself in challenging situations, when you step outside your comfort zone, when you operate at a high level despite the pressure, that's when you grow the most. That's when you build mental toughness. And once you develop mental toughness, you become unstoppable. Because nothing can shake you. Nothing can knock you off course. No failure, no setback, no rejection, no challenge. It all becomes fuel. It all becomes part of the process. Resilience is about adaptability, because success is not a straight line. Most people get stuck because they are too rigid. They set a plan, and when that plan doesn't work, they don't know what to do next. They waste time complaining about how things should be instead of adjusting to how things are. But high achievers, they adapt. They don't get attached to one way of doing things. They stay flexible. If something isn't working, they find a better way. If the market changes, they adjust their strategy. If they face an obstacle, they don't stop. They find another way forward. Because here's the truth. Resilience is not just about pushing harder. It's about thinking smarter. It's about finding solutions instead of focusing on problems. The final key to resilience is unshakable self-belief. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you will quit at the first sign of difficulty. Most people give up because deep down they don't truly believe they can succeed. They don't trust themselves. They let doubt win. They let other people's opinions shape their self-worth. But the people who create extraordinary success, they believe in themselves even when no one else does. They trust their vision even when other people think they are crazy. They refuse to let fear dictate their future. Because they know that the only thing standing between them and success is time and persistence. And as long as they keep going, success is inevitable. So ask yourself, do you have the resilience to keep going? Do you have the discipline to execute when it's hard? Do you have the belief to trust yourself when things don't go as planned? Because resilience is the final piece of the blueprint. It's what ensures that you don't just start strong, you finish strong. Extraordinary success is not about luck. It is not about talent. It is not about waiting for the right moment. It is about building yourself into the kind of person who creates success on demand, in any situation, under any circumstances. It is about training your mind to expect success, to see opportunity instead of obstacles, to focus on solutions instead of excuses, to believe in yourself so deeply that no setback, no failure, no challenge can stop you. It is about developing the habits that make success automatic, the discipline to show up every day, no matter how you feel, the ability to execute at the highest level, even when no one is watching, the commitment to mastery, to improvement, to getting just a little bit better every single day. It is about moving with strategy, not just working hard, but working smart, Not just taking action, but taking the right action. Not just hoping things will work out, but structuring your path so that success is inevitable. It is about resilience, the ability to stand tall in the face of failure, the ability to keep moving when progress is slow, the ability to trust yourself when everything in you wants to quit. And most of all, it is about consistency, because success is not about what you do once. It is about what you do every single day. Success is not one big moment. It is not one lucky break. It is not one perfect opportunity. It is the compounding effect of thousands of small choices stacked on top of each other over years. The question is, are you making the right choices? Are you showing up for yourself every day? Not just when it's easy, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. Are you executing with precision? Are you eliminating distractions? Are you operating at your highest level? Are you thinking long term, or are you looking for shortcuts? Are you willing to stay in the game long enough to win? Or are you going to give up when things get uncomfortable? Because success does not reward effort. It rewards persistence. The people who win are not the people who have the best ideas. They are not the people who get lucky. They are the people who refuse to stop, the people who commit, the people who stay disciplined, focused, and resilient no matter what. And that is the final key to extraordinary success. You must decide that you will win. Not hope, not wish. Decide. Decide that you will stay the course. Decide that you will show up for yourself. Decide that you will outwork, outlast, and outlearn everyone around you. Because the moment you make that decision, the moment you fully commit, you become unstoppable. So what are you going to do next? Are you going to take this knowledge and let it sit? Or are you going to use it right now to start executing at a higher level? Because success is not waiting for you. Life is moving with or without you. The opportunity is there. The blueprint is in front of you. The only question is, will you use it?